We all know our work lives have their ups and downs. You can go from great execution and big wins to being laid off when things change. From your startup being a raving success at inception to it failing. From believing you get that promotion to being passed over, and not just once, but twice. How do we bounce back from these situations? I'm your host, Modupe Akinola, a Columbia Business School professor and a researcher who focuses on leadership, stress, and workforce diversity. American football star Russell Wilson shares how you can make the choice to go from negative to neutral thinking when tough situations come your way. Russell Wilson is a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks and previously played Major League Baseball. He earned a Super Bowl ring in 2014, and in case you didn't know, in 2019, he was the highest paid player in the NFL. So get ready to learn from this pro how to shift gears when facing the highs and lows of life. Then after the talk, I'll be back to break down how we non-NFL stars can use this advice.
June 8th, 2010, Russell Wilson, 4th round pick to the Colorado Rockies baseball. I'm fired up. One of the highest moments of my life. Every kid's dream to be drafted by a Major League Baseball team. June 8th, 2010. June 9th, 2010, the line goes flat. My dad passes away. The highest of the high to the lowest of the low. Just like that. My dad laying in his deathbed and just tears running down my face. And, what do I do next? And my mind racing memories, flashbacks, moments, early mornings, getting up, taking grounders and throwing speed outs and deep post routes to my brother and my dad, to early morning car rides to AAU baseball, to my dad being the third base coach. Fast forward to the championship high of winning a Super Bowl, holding up the Lombardi trophy, and the emotions and the excitement of it all, and blue and green confetti all over the place, and knowing that you just won the Super Bowl. So a year later, the pressure of the game and the ball on the 1 yard line, and this is the chance to win the game, and it doesn't work. And however many millions and millions of people all over the world watching and having to walk to the media, and what do I say next? What do I do? What do I think? Being married at a young age and just coming out of college and everything else to, shortly after, marriage not working out and realizing, you know what? Life happens. Life happens. Life happens to all of us. Loss of family members, divorce, fear, pain, depression, concerns, worries. When you think about being super positive, yes, I'm positive by nature, but positivity, it doesn't always work, because when you're down 16-0 in the NFC Championship game and people are like, Russ, we're not going to be able to win this game, man. It's not a great situation right now. Or when you're facing cancer, or when you have, things you have to deal with, or finances and this and that, how do we deal with it? And it's hard to be positive in the midst of it all. And what I definitely knew was this, that negativity works 100% of the time. Negativity was going to get me nowhere. I started saying to myself, new are his mercies every morning, new beginnings, new starts. And despite hardship and pain and worries and wanting to get through it, and how do I do this? I started thinking about a car. You guys have to drive a car and you got stick shift and you want to shift to neutral. Well, you go from first gear to second gear all the way to fifth. Well, you got to know how to shift to neutral. And I needed to shift to neutral immediately before I crashed. Sitting there after the Super Bowl, I had a decision to make. Will I let this define my career? Will I let it define my life? Hell no. What I found out was this, that mindset is a skill. It can be taught and learned. I started 10 years ago training my mind with this guy named Trevor Moab, my mental conditioning coach, and he's been with me for 10 years, and we've been best friends and partners ever since. And as athletes, we train the body, we train ourselves to be able to run faster and throw farther and jump higher and do these different things, but why don't we train our mind? What do you want your life to look like? Write it out. Talk about it, say it. What's our language? What does our language look like? Watch these highlights, Russ, of when you're in your best moments. What does that look like? And be that, live that, sound like that. The best free throw shooters, they don't worry about the shot they just missed. They think about this shot, this putt, this throw, this first down. Then I met this kid, Milton Wright, 19 years old. He had cancer 3 different times. This day when I went to go see Milton, Milton was frustrated. Russ, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. It's my time to go. And I said, Milton, I started telling him this story about my dad and how my dad used to say, son, why not you? Why not you graduate early? Why not you play pro football and pro baseball? Why not you? Why not you? Why not you? And so I said, Milton, why not you? If you try T-cell therapy and you try this and it doesn't work, you won't remember. So Milton got a smile on his face and he said, you know what? You're exactly right. Yes, I do have cancer, Russ. But I can either let this kill me, not just physically, but I can also let it kill me emotionally and mentally. And I have a choice right now, in the midst of the problem, in the midst of the storm, to decide to overcome. One of the questions I always get asked about neutral thinking is this: does that mean I don't have any emotion? I always say, absolutely not. Yeah, we have emotions. We have real life situations. We have things to deal with. But what you have to be able to do is to stay focused on the moment and to not be super emotional. It's okay to have emotions, but don't be emotional. When people look at me, they see that I'm the highest paid player in the NFL. They see that I have the girl and Sierra, that I have the family and this and that. But I still have real life situations. We all do. We all have sadness and loss and depression and worries and fear. I didn't just get here. What's the truth? And how do I come through this better? And that's really kind of how my mind started shifting. It was not just on the success of it all or the failure of it. It was on the process. Like, what is the next step? How do I do this right here, right now? We have a choice to make in life. And for me, when I was young and I didn't have much, I made a choice. I made a choice that I was going to believe that great things were going to happen, that I was going to have my mindset right, and I was going to have the right language and the right things to think about, which helped prepare me for today, because I'm just human. I just have the ability to throw the ball a long way and to run around and make some cool and fun throws and make some people smile. But the reality is that I still have pressure. I still have worries. I still have fears. I still have things that happen. I still have loss. Positivity can be dangerous. But what always works is negativity. I never want to live in negativity. So I stayed in neutral. I kept my shift in neutral. And so that's where I lived. That's where I've been living ever since.
If you're anything like me, you might be a little skeptical. We hear lots about mindset change and mindfulness and all the soft, fuzzy things that we're supposed to do to get out of that rough patch. Russell focuses on a neutral mindset, which means not overweighting good or bad things when they happen, but instead accepting that whatever happened, happened, then moving on. So maybe you've already tried that, and you couldn't stop that negative downward spiral in your thinking. You just listened to Russell's talk and you're saying to yourself, come on now, can I really do that? Well, here's what changed my mind when I was a skeptic myself. Let's start with the idea of mindsets. What's a mindset anyway? Well, it's a lens that people can rely on to make sense of the world, especially when events or experiences are hard to interpret. You've probably heard the distinction between a fixed or a growth mindset, for instance, about intelligence. This is based on Carol Dweck's research at Stanford, where in countless studies, she found that people who believe intelligence can be improved over time, in other words, who have a growth mindset about intelligence, perform better and seek challenges. Whereas people who have a fixed mindset believe that intelligence isn't malleable and are more likely to get discouraged and dead end. What happens if we see how the concept of mindsets applies not to intelligence, but to stress? My own work with my collaborator, Ali Crum at Stanford, has shown that people hold different mindsets about stress. And when you believe that stress will help rather than harm performance, health, and well-being, it does just that. Ali coined the term stress-enhancing mindset, which is a mindset we've found you can get people into when you share research and stories about people rising to the occasion. Like watching a team of doctors demonstrate their extraordinarily sharp skills during a stressful surgery, or watching Michael Jordan nail a buzzer-beating three-pointer during a championship game. On the flip side, a stress debilitating mindset is one you can also get people easily to adopt by showing them stressful medical situations where grave errors were committed, or other examples of the loss of focus that can occur when you're under stress. What Ali found in a study of Wall Street bankers is that those with an enhancing mindset showed greater decreases in anxiety and fewer depressive symptoms over time. And what was even more astounding was that they felt the quality, quantity, and accuracy of their work had improved over time. They also reported experiencing greater focus, engaging more deeply, collaborating more effectively, and generating more ideas over time with an enhancing mindset relative to those with a debilitating mindset. We have also found biological benefits of adopting a stresses enhancing mindset. There's a hormone called DHEA. When you're in a stressful situation, you want your DHEA levels to increase. This response suggests that you're thriving physiologically. Your body is responding in a way that gives you energy to tackle the challenging situation. Well, in some of our work, Ali and I found that people with an enhancing mindset experienced greater increases in DHEA relative to those with a debilitating mindset. This shows that our bodies even benefit when we adopt enhancing mindsets about stress. All of this research put together generally tells us that if you have a stresses-enhancing mindset, you're more likely to feel satisfied with your life and show resilience in the face of adversity. And learning about this research and doing some of the mental work myself changed me from a skeptic to a believer in the power of changing mindsets. Now knowing this, how can you actually get into Russell's net neutral mindset after a tough situation at work, or even at home for that matter? How can you remember that stressors can be enhancing? Well, here's one tip for you. Take a moment to recall all of the stressful situations you encountered in the past month. How about the past year? Or how about over your lifetime? Is there one that stands out to you? Maybe two or even three. Well, choose one of these as your symbol, your go-to, so that each time you're stressed, you can recall that moment. You can remind yourself about what you overcame and how you overcame it, turning it into a resource to help you overcome the stress you're currently facing. Now, it's important to know that getting your mindset to neutral and reminding yourself stress is enhancing isn't easy. You must practice doing this regularly. And of all people, Russell knows the benefits of practice. It got him a Super Bowl trophy after all. Maybe shifting your mindset can give you the big win you're seeking. And even if it doesn't, maybe it can help you feel more balanced and nimble as you take life's tackles on your way to pursuing your goals. Thanks for joining today.